welcome to episode 37 of Rebels Without a Pod, the show that dares ask the question, what happened to your mouth guard?
What?
Why you gotta listen to back episodes. My name is John, and joining me tonight, Andy, who does our artwork and graphic design.
Good evening, everybody.
Naveen on music and audio production.
Hello.
And Pod Daddy Eric, a.k.a. the Electric Banana.
Buzz, 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 buzz.
That's what an electric banana does.
Yeah, right?
And that's the show, folks. We're not going to top that first. Anyway. Tonight we'll be wrapping up our wildly inconsistent mockumentary cycle with Rob Reiner's legendary 1984 rock comedy, This Is Spinal Tap. But first, let's welcome back to the show our senior Youth in America correspondent, Charlie, who's here to talk about some of his favorites of 2024 and also his recent contribution to our show's YouTube channel. Charlie, welcome. Thank you for coming back on. Say again?
I said, thank you for having me. John, turn up the
Say it one more time.
Thank you for having me.
We just, at our age, we just like hearing that kind of appreciation.
Yeah. The time he's ever said anything nice about somebody over the age of 40. All right.
Oh.
Well, 2025, we take what we can get.
That's right. All right.
Like a little bit of backstory. Like a couple weeks ago, very unexpectedly in our kind of podcast group chat, a little video file popped up from Andy that said, "My son actually has a bit of a contribution to the show." We were like, "No idea what is this?" Took a look, and for me. Personally, maybe even if it's a little bit egotistical, I was kind of grinning ear to ear like the entire time I was watching this thing. So, Charlie, could you tell us like a little bit about the thing that you created for us and kind of how you came up with the idea, how you put it together?
So as one of the youth in America, one thing that's very popular is short form content right now, and I noticed that like traffic to the YouTube channel wasn't booming, so I decided listen, Leonard is a regular listener. Okay. Thank you, Leonard.
Agree.
Thank you. Let's all get a thank you, Leonard, in here. How dare you?
Andy, how many friends do you have that just keep trying to watch these videos and stop after 5 minutes? They're like, where's an actual movie review?
I'm pretty sure all of my friends are on this podcast right now.
Right.
I'll give you that.
Yeah. Sorry, continue. Yeah.
Plus, we're in our 40s. We're not making new friends at any point.
No, that's gone. I'm getting people out of my life at this point. But yeah, I thought it would be a nice idea to throw. I really needed some suggestions for some good clips that I could use because obviously these are quite long. But I thought I'd do something to contribute because. I mean, I haven't listened to many episodes as of late, but I used to really enjoy the podcast. I would listen to them weekly. Not anymore though. Okay.
Yeah, what happened there? Do we want to unpack this? Or?
They got too long.
Yeah,
they got too long.
It was in the summer, so I had a little bit more time. But
we were recording past your bedtime too, and so it's weird late at night.
He stays up later than I do.
Probably.
All this is very shaky fathering, Andy, but please continue.
Yeah, no one's listening. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Continue. So I thought I'd just throw in some stupid little videos and obviously the clip from whatever Johnny said on the 2049 episode because that was the movie that I was most interested in watching, and I think I'm going to watch it mainly because of that like podcast.
Oh, great.
So I thought, yeah, you know, I feel like you're burying the beginning of the story though about how your decision. Oh, how I was like making fun of you for like the channel being small. Well, and on top, so all right, he was making fun of us, me particularly, that the channel wasn't getting much love on YouTube. First of all, and then he kept on.
I thought he was making fun of you because you always had your ceiling fan on while we record. I mean,
It gets warm in this room, Eric. It's not like I'm in the basement for crying out
I
loud.
am in a basement.
Yeah.
If it gets
That
hot
was
down
a
here,
good
I have
one.
a drop ceiling. I could just move one of the tiles aside. And
Yeah, exactly. So we're sitting at the dinner table on like Sunday evening at my parents' house eating a lovely dinner, and Charlie just starts ripping on the fact that our YouTube channel is not getting any love, and keeps on saying, you should do shorts. You should do shorts. And I keep on saying, we don't care if anybody watches our stuff or listens to our stuff. I mean, it's great if they do, but like, that's kind of not really why we're doing it. And he just wouldn't let it go. And I finally just said, you know what? Fine, Charlie, go ahead. Make a short. Thinking there's no chance he's going to follow through on this. It's never going to happen. Fast forward about 3 hours. I'm laying in bed trying to go to sleep. He goes, Dad, check this out. And he texts it to me. And I'm like, God damn it, this is better than anything we've done in 60 hours.
that was short.
And for like 3 hours, an astounding turnaround time, too.
That's crazy. Yeah, I know. The weird thing is, like,
Well done.
Charlie, why don't you describe a little bit about like the audio sample that you took and kind of how you came up with the ideas to kind of like match the images that you have in like the short.
Yeah, why Johnny, by the
You
way?
can
I mean,
remember.
there's like 3 other guys on the podcast.
My
I
dulcet
mean,
tones.
I'll make one for each individual one next.
take the filthiest thing I say and then just like
Mhm.
front and center.
Okay.
You've got a lot to choose from.
Okay.
Yeah, you do.
A lot. Yeah. How did I?
I hope
choose
you know what a
one?
human centipede is.
Oh, ew, that's gross. That's gross. I don't even wanna think about
Pull
this.
from when your dad explains how to make a human centipede out of people that are close to him.
Yeah, out of the people that are on this pod.
Don't worry, it's not family members, so you're
No
safe.
family.
Oh my god.
Naveen is the
Yeah.
closest thing to family, and no.
But okay.
Soft lips.
Oh, that's Dad. Dad. I'm sitting right here. Young ears.
I can confirm that, by the way.
Oh god.
I was-
Oh god.
I was the caboose, so I get the wrong lips.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So how did I choose what? Okay, what I wanted to do was I didn't want to go full zoomer because like obviously that's not like the point of this podcast. Because you know you're over like 40.
Fucking old.
True.
And but like I also didn't want to go, like,
because we are over 40, can you clarify a little bit
Yeah.
what going
Can you
full
repeat that? I'm
zoomer-
not sure John can hear you that well.
Charlie, you got to speak slower.
Yeah.
okay.
Enunciate
Can you
better.
reintroduce yourself?
So my name is Charlie.
Okay.
I was born in a generation called Gen Z, and they be calling us Zoomers.
Zoomer.
Zoomer humor, and
Zoomy.
it's just stuff that nobody besides dumbass kids like me would find funny, you know. And I just tried to like steer away from that and kind of go towards like more mass appealing. It still might be a little niche, but like, you know, I tried to do my best, and I also tried to steer clear of any copyright. So
Sure.
so you guys wouldn't have to deal with that. But yeah, that's kind of it. I thought I would just do something fun for me, and then maybe fun for you guys to post too. So it's kind of
100%.
excited.
I was impressed.
So basically, the content of like the short itself, it's about a 20-second clip of the just completely nonsensical intro that I did to our Blade Runner conversation, and Charlie basically I had kind of like a little sort of kind of what is kind of first sort of presented as a synopsis for the film, but just kind of ends on just a very, very dumb joke at the end of it. Basically throughout like the little kind of, you know, that 20-second snippet of like the little thing I'd written, Charlie basically synced up how many different images do you think kind of totally you used for that short? There had to be at least like a dozen, right?
Way too many.
Way too many.
Are those hand picked or is that AI?
No, all of them directly from Google. Yep.
Yeah, nice.
I had to go in and like
Google search 45.
I searched up "cloudy with a chance of meatballs" GIF, and And
Mhm.
it's so cool to find that one clip of him like staring upwards, and I just tried to do that for each individual like image.
Here's a question. Maybe you can settle this for all of us olds. Is it GIF or GIF?
It's GIF. It's
GIF?
always
GIF?
no. It's
Oh
always
dear
been
God!
GIF. It's always been
Yeah.
GIF. Always been GIF.
There goes glass
So
listener. Actually,
let me
no, they were
offer
probably
like
on par with that one.
Mm-hmm.
a little clarification for here. The GIF actually is short for graphical interchange format. So it's GIF. It's always been GIF. It's not even like GIF's not even in the
Nerd, nerd. We don't need
Nerd.
that.
Like,
No.
listen,
Hurtful.
I don't care what the
Hurtful friend.
like. I don't care what the creator of whatever that's called is says. He's like, oh, it's GIF. No, it's not. Like, I don't care what you say. It's GIF.
Mhm.
Can I ask one quick question? Why is Naveen ordering a pizza while we're recording? A Hawaiian pizza.
It's a Hawaiian pizza.
Dude, it's Zoomer humor. It's totally random.
It's
Yeah. So,
Any kind of
Let me know what
Here's
you're talking
something
about.
funny that I always joke about with my kids is so Ray always tries to watch like the YouTube shorts, and I scream out, I'm like, don't watch the YouTube shorts, like it's gonna give you brain rot. And so he's like, oh, I won't watch it. And then Caleb also says, like, don't watch YouTube shorts. That's like recycled crap from like from TikTok from like 3 years ago.
Mhm.
So like Ray will watch it, and then he'll be like, he'll say something stupid like whatever the latest thing is, and not the latest thing, but whatever he saw and there is. And then Caleb will be like, dude, nobody says that anymore. That's not like a thing. And then Ray's like, no, it's fine. It's fine.
Mhm. Good. It has the vibe of something that was really funny, but the actual moment of the past, like years and years earlier, pretty much.
Yeah.
Interesting. Charlie, like those that video you made, like I said, sort of thoroughly entertaining. If inspiration kind of strikes you again, we will kind of publish as many of those things as you're interested in, kind of making
sure.
later on the line. Very cool.
We have to pay him for it.
He gets to live in my house for free.
It's an internship, right? Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
as soon as we get paid for this show, some of that money will trickle down to our correspondents.
Yes, that's right. I sure hope so.
Yeah.
That's
And
right.
so, yeah, Charlie, if the Patreon pays off, then you can get an assistant.
Mhm.
Sweet.
Just keep in mind, I called you our senior Youth in America correspondent because we have we've also recently added a junior broadcaster going under like the show name Terror Ray Fire 3. So just keep in mind there's a little kind of competition on the horizon.
Oh,
for
he
you.
loves it. He loves that name.
Uh-oh.
I'm the better one.
I don't know.
Mentoring opportunity.
Any kind of case, let's move on there. Charlie, we were also kind of curious, recently, last couple episodes, the four of us did our kind of like our non-podcast kind of best of 2024 listings. To get talked about some things that we didn't really kind of cover, discuss too much on the show, but we have had discussions about for 2024. Pretty interesting year in movies. We talked about what we thought the worst film of the year was, the biggest surprise of the year was, and what our overall best for 2024 was. So we were hoping you could you could share your picks for the same.
Absolutely. I'd say the worst thing I saw this year. I think I mentioned it on the last one. The last one I was on Godzilla. I really didn't like that movie. It was just
the Godzilla X Kong. Just
that like whatever the last one
yeah.
was. And then Eric made like the comment about like, dude, that sounds like the best kind of movie. You know, it's just like just a bunch of things fighting. Just felt like there was like no story. You know, like no real substance.
You don't need the story. You just need the visuals and like what they have, like Cranky Kong fighting. I don't know, like cyborg.
Isn't there like actually? I think I mentioned this because it came up previous. Actually, when did this movie come up previously on our best of discussions? Naveen, was like this your biggest surprise of the year, or
No, it wasn't my biggest surprise of the year. I think it was like one of the worst movies that I saw as well.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah. No, it was
solidarity.
bad, but it was a great comedy.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much all it was.
Probably not meant to be a comedy, but it was hilarious.
Just seeing King Kong with the giant crane arm was just like, come on, that's still extra. It just felt really extra.
Right.
I mean, where else are you going to see that? Somebody
Right.
had to do It
No,
has
no,
I brought this up previously, but there's like a scene where like King Kong picks up like a smaller monkey and sort of whips him around like a nunchuck.
Oh yeah,
It's called
no,
Diddy
that
Kong.
was funny. That was funny. I like that scene.
Great.
People memed the heck out of that scene. And
Look at Naveen smiling right now as we're talking about it.
Yeah.
It's just-
Hilarious, man.
This is what it's about.
It
Oh,
is.
so, okay, interesting. So you saw since the last time you were on the show, you'd seen nothing this year that was worse than Godzilla X Kong. It's like.
the only thing that would come close is the whatever that Christmas movie that came out. I think it was
Red
Red
One?
One.
Was it Red One?
Red
Yeah,
One.
Red One.
Yeah.
Like it was fun, but just god awful. You know, it was like it's like one of those things that they just attempted to put all the popular actors in the same movie.
I said the same.
Oh, I said the same thing. Look at that.
I
Yep.
said Inside Out 2 and Red
What?
1.
Dude, Inside Out 2 was great.
No, it was awful.
Yeah. Well, I think
Wait,
that's-
what? Who said
Inside
Inside Out 2 was awful?
I did.
You
Terrible.
did? I thought that would have been your favorite movie.
No, it was awful.
Also here.
He's,
This is why you
man.
need to listen to the old episodes, dude.
Andy loves a good sob fest.
That's
Now,
that's
He's a
the
softie.
closest
He
to
loves
Bob's
those kind of
idea.
movies. You like
the first
If,
one
right?
was so good. I liked it. I did
If,
like it.
that one was like, that's unfair. They go right for the jugular at the beginning,
Absolutely, yeah.
and you just feel like crap the whole movie because you're like,
Yeah.
oh, somebody's dying. Oh, was it the mom? Oh, no, it's the dad too.
Yep.
Like, Jesus Christ, pick one. It can't be both.
Yep.
Or
No,
maybe
I thought
grandma.
that
Just
it
knock
said
off
on
grandma at the beginning. Oh, they had a close bond. Let's see what happens with this imaginary shit.
Sounds like a Disney movie.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
This whole thing
I
Eric
like
is doing
that
right
one,
now,
that
you got to
one too.
make a short out of.
Okay. Full spiel.
Okay, but going on from worse, biggest surprise 2024 you had in the movies.
This was honestly pretty easy to me,
Yeah.
and it plays quite well into what Eric was talking about earlier. Sonic 3. It was a thorough surprise for me. Like right now, I think I wasn't expecting it to be all that much. It's like, oh, it's the third movie in the series. That's usually a bad omen, you know.
That's usually when they start really running out of ideas.
Besides Kung Fu Panda 3, that is one of my favorite movies of all time. But that's besides the
Nice.
point. But I think as it stands, it has it has over a 90 on audience score on Rotten Tomatoes.
Which one? Sonic
3, which is really surprising. But I can understand why. It was pretty fun, but you know, it was obviously really CG heavy, and you know,
Sure.
sometimes that's not my forte. But
Right.
I thoroughly enjoyed it. But once again, it could be because I saw it with all my buddies, and you know, we had a grand old time.
87% fresh.
Right. Spoil it for me. Was Amy in it?
No,
Post credits?
yeah, post credits, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
Who's
I
Amy?
heard something about like Amy and Big the Cat, maybe.
There's there's two after credit scenes. The second one we see Metal Sonic in.
Oh, cool.
Metal
Okay.
Sonic.
Spoilers.
Come on. That's back
I was
in
gonna
like
see this
what?
anyway, so
Sega
that's
CD?
I'm sorry. You're not wrong. And I was hoping to see either Big the Cat or the Crocodile Dude.
Yeah.
I really like the Crocodile Dude. But you know, still a surprise. I'm just surprised they're making another movie. That's my surprise.
Oh, of course. They're gonna keep going as long as they get Jim
These
Carrey's
things are
back on.
hits. They're well liked.
Yeah.
They probably made collectively like $500 million at this
Yeah, for
point.
sure.
Yeah,
I saw something where it was like Jim Carrey going to retirement, saying that he'll only retire when he finds like the right movie. It's just to retire for unretire. And I'm like, dude. And
Yeah.
I mean, he was great. There was like the scene that like he's like
I
dancing.
keep hearing that is Dr. Eggman is hysterical.
He's so funny.
I think
so
it's
funny.
surprising that you haven't seen a single one of these movies, Johnny.
Yeah.
Wait,
definitely.
you've
Yeah.
never seen one of them?
The Sonic stuff, I just, it didn't grow up with the Genesis in the house, and it's always like a weird thing. I've always just kind of kept it arm's
John
length.
You have-
Like,
you have to
I
watch
don't know what
It's a big burden he's been holding for a lot of years, and we
Well,
really
the
see it a
amount
lot
of
on the
time-
podcast.
With the
He's
amount of time that you spend on
not forgiving of
airplanes,
Sonic.
I would have thought for sure that
Yeah.
you would have caught it on a flight
Wait.
somewhere.
You had a Dreamcast, buddy. You didn't play Sonic on Dreamcast?
But the one Sonic game I had was Sonic Adventure, and it's the most 1999 memory I have because I just played Sonic Adventure to death, front to back, while listening to the first Kid Rock CD. So that's just the year. That's just the time that it actually was. I Am the Bull God is actually sort of pretty sweet when you're kind of blazing through like a volcano level.
Wow.
But then it kind of pivots to Big the Cat, and you're like fishing for 20 minutes straight. It was really in the spirit.
I think you were one of two people that owned a Dreamcast. You and Phil Monsey, the kid that I went to high school with. You were the only two people.
And the Kid Rock CD.
And
Yeah, seriously. What kind of combination is that?
Yeah.
1999, dude. It was the
hell of
old
a time.
millennium.
The thing I love is like there's so many good things you can like look back on like in your youth, like, oh my god, that was such a good time going to see this or that, and you're like, oh man, what was it, 1999? Got me some Sonic Adventure, got me some Kid Rock. Oh shit, I was living it up. That was just amazing. Oh my
Bob with
god.
the ball on the radio.
Yeah, wait, was that Kid Rock? That was on cassette tape, or was that CD?
That was burned onto a CDR that I somehow got the MP3s in some very sketchy sort of pre-Napster kind of way of pulling these things down. I think probably like just kind of weird FTP sites.
All right, I want Charlie to translate 3 of those things that Johnny just said. What's a Napster?
Okay. Kid Rock.
Yeah. What's a Kid Rock? What's a Napster? What's a CDR?
Do you know what a Kid Rock is?
I got one over there.
Isn't Kid Rock that like those CDs they put out where kids sing like versions of like
Kids Bob
songs? Yes. Sure. Okay. Yeah. Maybe that's it. I don't know.
Same thing.
Okay. Yeah.
Actually, Kids
Andy,
Bop's
look
better.
up. No, Charlie, look up what Kid Rock was doing in 1999 and no year following that. That's the idea.
Lollapalooza.
Any kind of case,
that
Charlie,
was just
final
a
question
key.
for you. Best film you saw in 2024?
best film. Oh, dude, I had this one. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. This isn't even a question. It was Deadpool and Wolverine. Like I don't even
Deadpool
think.
and Wolverine.
Yeah,
There we
I don't
go.
even think. I don't
There
even
it
think
is.
it's a contest. Like not even a contest.
Wait, you
Like,
got to see this movie? You were allowed to see this movie?
I took him to the
Really?
theater to see it.
If I wasn't, I would
Wow.
have sued the place. I wanted to see that movie so bad. Yeah. And obviously it was worth it because like I'd say that was probably the best movie I've seen in recent years, not just this year.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Did you see the
It was-
previous two?
What?
You saw the previous two? Deadpool? movies?
I saw the first one. I didn't see the second. I
Okay.
really didn't watch the second one.
You saw most of the first one, but got a little bit creeped because you were too young. You
Yeah,
got a little,
I was-
Yeah.
little creeped out by all the death and the
Yeah.
cancer stuff.
Yeah.
And then you never saw Deadpool 2.
I want to watch it.
The second one, to my memory, also really fun, really entertaining.
It was good.
They're all
It was
They're all
pretty
fun.
good.
Yeah, they're all
Because
fun.
Ryan Reynolds directs it. Like, what do you expect the guy to do?
He doesn't direct it. He helped to write
Yeah,
it
he helped to write the script.
and
yeah.
obviously stars in it.
Right. Mhm.
But
Yeah.
Deadpool Wolverine was one of our favorites as well.
Yeah,
Right.
for sure.
If I remember right, that was actually Eric's pick for best movie 2024.
That was mine.
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
So good. Yeah,
What was yours?
it just blew me away.
I forget what mine was.
Dune 2.
Dune 2, that's right. Dune
Wait,
2.
just for a little bit of context, can you guys tell me yours? I didn't.
Dune 2 and
Uh,
Deadpool Wolverine.
Dune
Your
2.
father and I actually had the same picks for best and worst. It was Dune 2 for the best and Inside Out 2 for the worst, where it being the worst was in a way that was interesting to kind of talk about.
Yeah.
Eric was Deadpool and Wolverine was his favorite, and his least favorite was a movie that I told him I couldn't recommend to him, but he went anyway, then blamed me for it.
Oh, the TV glow.
Yeah.
Well, what was it?
I saw the TV glow, I think it's called. It's a
Yeah.
A24 movie. It's awful.
Wait,
Awful
is
movie.
Gladiator
Do not
out?
watch it. Gladiator 2? That was
Yeah.
2024.
Yeah, that was this year. You didn't see it though.
Yeah, no, I didn't see it.
Naveen, what were your picks again?
My worst was the Godzilla, and then my best and surprise I kind of was between Roadhouse and Furiosa.
That's right.
Interesting.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
Furiosa
yeah.
looked good.
Wow. I'm telling you,
you'd like the Mad
2024,
Max movie.
so many movies.
What's not to like about it? You haven't seen them. You'd like them. I'm sure you should watch them.
I love it when it's like a solid year without a writer's strike. Just so much
100%.
content.
Yeah.
All right. Well, very cool. Well, Charlie, we certainly appreciate you kind of coming on and sort of kind of discussing shorts and kind of giving us like a little kind of insight into what the kids are watching these days.
For sure, man.
Yeah. Anything to plug before you go?
Go watch the short. Maybe some more coming soon.
Sweet.
Make sure to like and subscribe to the YouTube channel.
I was waiting for it, man. I knew it was coming.
This is why we need young people on the show.
You guys heard that, right?
No. Do this.
No.
Like 20 episodes on YouTube.
Where did that come
from? That like once.
Go buy the merch and subscribe to Patreon, even though we don't have one.
And what's our chocolate bars that we have, and our sports drink, and our I don't know whatever.
Yeah, what energy?
Oh
drink
yeah, go buy
Rebestables.
Go buy Celsius.
And some rhyme.
Rebestables and rhyme.
All right, thanks for having me on, guys.
Later.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Goodbye, son. Bye, Dad. We'll play video games.
Tab soda.
Bye, Dad. I'm going to the next room over.
Yeah, pretty much.
Get out of here. You wasted our time.
Teenagers.
For listeners of the podcast, Andy just chased his son out of the room with a broom.
That's the most time that he's willingly spent with me in probably a calendar year.
Nope, he's back.
He's back.
Oh,
Get the broom
that
out.
is fun.
There it is. I was going to say that's probably the most time you guys have ever spent like having a conversation in the same like vicinity.
And not yelling at one another.
Yeah, true. I mean, just bonding. Love
I think
it.
that's accurate. I think that's
This is
accurate.
podcasting, man. Just kind of bringing families together.
Bringing families together.
All right, Charlie, back to the sweatshop to make some more shorts.
Our new motto.
Yeah. All right, so moving on. That was fun, but let's get on to the movie of the day. This is Spinal Tap.
Oh, this is Rebels Without a Fight.
It's a 1984 parody rockumentary written and directed by Rob Reiner, starring co-written by Michael McKean, Christopher Guest, and Harry Shearer. Synopsis in brief. Fran Drescher, fine as hell, man. I don't know.
Right?
Right?
Where did that come
Oh
from?
man,
Just the heart. That came from
she
the heart.
popped on that screen. I was like, "Oh, Fran Drescher," and I was like, "Fran Drescher, damn."
Yeah. Yeah, I was surprised by that. I hadn't seen the movie in so long. I'd forgotten that she was even in it, let alone looking lovely.
Looking at you, a gentleman. I'm going to take like this opportunity to introduce like the new Fran Drescher tribute website that I'm going to build called OnlyFrans.
Oh, I'm giving you that one. I'm giving you that one. That's
Points.
oh yeah, you got some points for that. That's smart. That's smart living.
Sweet. There we go. The concept of the movie originated in a collaboration between Reiner, McKean, Guest, and Shearer on a 1978 sketch program called The TV Show, which featured a parody rock band called Spinal Tap. The film drew inspiration from documentaries about Bob Dylan, the Beatles, and the band, as well as an experience Rob Reiner had seeing Judas Priest live. It was distilled down from over 100 hours of footage shot over 5 months and is composed almost entirely of improvised dialogue and scenes. Although initially only a moderate commercial success, This Is Spinal Tap is now considered one of the all-time best rock films, holding near universal acclaim with a 94% positive rating on Rotten Tomatoes. You guys want to guess how many stars from Roger Ebert on this one? Out of 4.
Roger Ebert, 3.
3.
I heard it was potentially a flop when it came out, so I'll say 2.5.
2.5 stars. 4 stars from Roger Ebert.
God damn.
Who writes, This Is Spinal Tap, one of the funniest movies ever made, is about a lot of things. But one of them is the way the real story is not in the questions or in the answers, but at the edge of the frame. There are 2 stories told in the film. The story of what rock band Spinal Tap thinks, hopes, believes, or fears is happening, and then the story of what is actually occurring. The reason we feel such affection for its members is because they are so touching in their innocence and optimism. So yeah, only the fourth movie we've covered with a perfect score from Roger out of, I believe, Lost in Translation, Almost Famous, and Grizzly Man. So just probably goes without saying, but everybody had kind of seen this movie previous to the pod, correct?
Nope.
Yeah.
Yes.
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
I expected what's that movie, Detroit Rock City? I thought it was that kind of vibe when I thought about what the movie was. I didn't know what it actually was. So seeing this for the first time, I was confused. I was pretty confused. I'm like, I don't know what this is, but it's a great movie. It's pretty good.
Okay. Actually, so Eric, let's kind of dig into this for like a little bit. You especially you being so musical, your father being like a lifetime kind of musician, guitar teacher. Like you've never seen or kind of sought out this film prior.
It's not like my parents tried to get me to watch it. I mean, I don't think I've ever even heard my dad talk about the film.
Seriously.
Yeah. It's one of those things though. It's like when you're talking to like friends and stuff and you talk about movies you've seen and like what's really good. And it always comes up at some point. So I mean, it's not like I haven't heard of it. I just I'm not like inspired to go seek it out. I just know it's a good movie I could check out at some point that was made in like 1984.
And would you say you like enjoyed it like overall? Like
when I watched it, I could definitely the thing that came to mind is all the movies that were influenced by it. Because I'm watching it, I'm like, oh my god, this is like Flight of the Conchords in terms of like the humor for the jokes, or like the movie what was that one called? Walk Hard?
Oh yeah,
Dewey Cox story, yeah. Walk Hard, like Wayne's World, any of those mockumentary style films, it has that vibe to it. That's pretty recognizable, and I'm sure, this was probably one of the early ones that just
like a lot of stuff that we grew up on for sure.
But I think that thing that makes it so good too is the humor's there. It's really funny. Lots of stuff that's improvised that you can tell. You can tell they're having a great time. But the music, I don't know what it's about the music, and the thing I didn't think about it until the songs I really liked. First, I started singing like "Give me some money," give me some, and then they have that song "Big Bottom," which they kept bringing out. It's like "Big Bottom, how could I leave this behind?" But my favorite was Stonehenge, and I didn't think it would be. And I love Stonehenge. It was so good. Even the little ditty with the dwarves come. I'm sorry, the smaller people.
How dare you?
Yeah, they're like doing this little like Irish jig around Stonehenge, the 18-inch Stonehenge.
One of the all-time sort of best tags to like any funny scene that I think has just kind of been filmed ever is what's the Michael McKean line about like I'm pissed because we had a Stonehenge prop on stage that was in danger of being trampled by a dwarf. Like, just a 20-minute build up and just about the most perfect punchline about it. Yeah. Andy, Naveen, how was rewatching this for you? Like,
it's fantastic. I know when we did Best in Show, I said something, maybe this was like the best kind of second superior sequel kind of thing, but I hadn't watched it in a while. Watching it again, I mean, obviously it's not a direct sequel or anything, but just of her guests, mockumentary stuff. But yeah, no, it's better. It's awesome. It's hilarious. As Eric was mentioning, how they're having fun, especially that interview in the beginning. And, Michael McKean starts covering his mouth because he's just kind of starting to laugh because he couldn't hold it together when they're talking about, what day did the Lord create Spinal Tap, or
why couldn't he have rested on that day too?
Yeah, well, exactly. And then he's just Christopher Guest, Nigel's like, they're getting just nitpicking. That's just nitpicking. Like, okay, and the shit sandwich from their album Show. It was great. Of course, yes. Big Bottom, I think they spent the most time, velvety cheeks and then talk about mud flats.
Just the nastiest song. Just the nastiest song.
I love how they keep killing, like all the drummers keep getting killed off, and they're just having fun, just talking about the different ways the drummers died. And they're like, he just kind of like exploded on stage, like spontaneously combusted. And they're like, yeah, but I mean, you can't really prove it.
Happens to tens of people every single year.
The one who choked on his vomit. They're like, well, I mean, you can't prove that it was vomit. He choked. Like, we don't know whose vomit he choked on. We can't really prove it.
It wasn't his vomit.
Yeah, you can't dust.
We can't
for
dust for vomit.
I watched this late at night, by the way, and
Sure.
I was like, I'm gonna fall asleep in like 10 minutes. And as soon as I started hearing this stuff, I just like woke up and was laughing. I'm like, this is
Like,
I heard it the first time.
unexpected. I didn't expect this.
Yeah, I mean, I heard it. I mean, I probably heard it before, but it didn't click with me until watching it again. But that scene with the manager, and he's like, "All right, we canceled Boston," and he's like, "Boston's not a college town anyway."
Yeah, I know.
It's like,
There's so many throwaway comments, and those are the best ones. And that's when they
Sure.
cut to like the next scene.
yeah,
It's it's so funny. It's so specifically acted. I didn't know that this. I thought this was a thing that they had come up with whole cloth just for the movie itself. I didn't know that they had been kind of doing Spinal Tap and doing these characters for like 6 years or so, kind of prior to making this thing. Because they just but it makes more sense because everything about like the band and these characters is so detailed and so lived in. I think that adds really kind of so much to the comedy.
not even writing they also, they wrote the movie, but they also wrote the songs.
Yeah.
And performed the songs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Perform the songs, and it just it's with the first performance, it just like the drop of of the songs, and just like the legitimate smiles you kind of see like on like the band members' faces while they're playing these just ridiculous songs for the crowd. It's just it's so infectious. It's so like immediate, like you're having fun and you're in the movie like more or less right away.
They're also working with Rob Reiner, who's like, I think I don't know if he was a household name at that time, but I think this movie probably made him. But
he was kind of known for his character on Happy Days, and then he just kind of worked in. I think this was his first feature film though.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this was the movie that made him like big, because I mean, by the time he did Princess Bride, it was like, I think he had a couple movies under his belt, and everybody. Stand by Me.
Harry Met Sally just had like really kind of amazing kind of run in like the later
Stand by
80s.
Me was the one that kind of solidified it after this movie.
Right. Andy, how was revisiting this one for you?
I've always enjoyed this movie. I hadn't seen it in a while. It was funny. A lot of the things that hit for me originally when watching this movie didn't hit as much this time around, but new things did. It was like, I've heard so many of those jokes so many times before in, other whatever memes and on other shows and references and whatnot that, they didn't make me laugh the way they did originally. But like Naveen said, like the Boston's not a college town comment caught me completely off guard. I'd never heard it before, and I thought it was hilarious. There's others too that I'm not coming up with now, but
there's so much throwaway stuff either in like the lines or just kind of things happening in the background as like the movie's kind of going on.
Yeah. No, I thoroughly enjoyed it again. And I'm sure I'll watch it probably 20 more times before I die eventually.
Mm-hmm. So can I just I mean, this is a movie that is so kind of well known and so beloved, but also maybe kind of a little bit sort of kind of chewed over almost like at the same time, because like the really, really famous lines or like the really kind of famous scenes out of it are just things that have just absolutely just kind of been referenced and memed to death. Boston's not a college town. This goes to 11. Danger of being crushed by a dwarf, like all that stuff. But a kind of a jumping off point, and I kind of put this to like the three of you who are like a little bit more kind of I would say reasonably kind of like more musically inclined than I am. Stuff in Spinal Tap, like would you say that these that is this, how much of an exaggeration are these characters for kind of comedic effect versus how much to you guys did these just feel like kind of real legitimate like musicians just kind of just acting like the way creative people act?
I mean, they're obviously caricatures. They go beyond, I guess, the realm of like reality, but man, artists are weird and musicians are weird. I work with a bunch of them now, and I'm surrounded by a bunch of them now with people coming in and out of the store, and they're just quirky, man. They're fun. They're super interesting people to be around, but they're weird. They're just super weird.
Thank God they're not listening to this podcast.
No kidding. No kidding.
No, you're weird.
No, you're a weird guy.
You're the weird one.
Yeah.
With your ceiling fan.
Honestly, they would all agree. They would all agree that they're weird.
Yeah.
So
unique.
Yeah.
Unique's the word, I think.
Okay, sure.
Challenged.
Yeah, challenge.
In the positive way, not like
Yeah,
a challenge because music is hard. Making music is hard.
Special.
Sure. Naveen, I would put this to you in particular because you've been involved with and played with like a number of bands at this point. How do you think is the way that like the bands are kind of depicted, interacting with each other and creative stuff, and occasionally sort of kind of bickering over things, is in your experience, was that kind of like authentic to like the actual the actual what being in a band actually feels like?
Part of it is, I mean, it's interesting. It's a mockumentary. They're poking fun. They're being comedic, but a lot of those things do happen. I think that's what makes it funny, is that they're just portraying this, but it's like, that's real life. And not to jump ahead a little bit, but I'm going to, because it kind of correlates to this. But one of my Vigo's toes was the front man for Wasp, Blackie Lawless. All right. And he admitted when he watched it, he wasn't laughing. He didn't find it funny. Yeah, he didn't find it comedic because he's like, yeah, that stuff happened in real life. We, they got lost when they were on tour with Metallica, and Cliff Burton was
supposedly like a thing that kind of happens a lot. Like,
getting lost to get to the stage,
weird venues and stuff,
getting there late, and it's just like this stuff actually happened. So they didn't really find it funny. He didn't really find it funny at first, just because it's like, yeah, that's what happens. So it's kind of that way. You just, I guess you gotta be in the right frame of mind to be able to watch it as a comedy, as opposed to being like that stuff really happens. So I think it's just because those things happen, you don't really hear about it a lot, but you kind of hear about it, and people relate to celebrities kind of thing. So it's somewhat relatable because you've read those things or seen it on these TV shows or on the news or something of that sort. Heard stories about it happening and just seeing it. So yeah, that stuff is kind of real, and just pushing it enough over the fine line to make it seem real, but also pushing that to be a comedic effect. Walking that line. There's that one line in the movie. It's a fine line between stupid and clever. And
clever and stupid.
Right? That's basically what it is. Like, that's clever and it's stupid and it's hilarious, but it's kind of true.
Right. This is a rare comedy where it's the comedic effect. You only have to add kind of a sliver on top of what the real experiences of these worlds and these kind of characters are actually like.
Yeah.
Okay. So what like a constant kind of sort of kind of conflict, if you can kind of say, that exists within this movie, is just it's kind of a little bit. It's a little bit about art versus commerce. It's a little bit about kind of like the tension between the creative talent and the management. Do you guys want to kind of like talk about that like a little bit?
Yeah, let's go for it.
I mean, I'll jump in first just because I don't have a strong opinion about it. But I mean, I felt like if you're asking in relation to the film itself, I don't
Mhm.
feel like the band, like anybody in the band, really had a strong opinion about anything. They all kind of like enjoyed playing with each other, and they had some creative differences, but it never really formed much of a strife between them. I think that they want to stay true to like what they were doing. Like the filthy music, very suggestive, very, very sexist. The whole thing, what they bring up with the album cover, where they're like, hey, we want to have this thing. And Fran Drescher's like, I don't think, we can sell this at these stores because, and the manager's like, why not? What's wrong with it? And she's like, it's like a woman all greased up on all fours, being held with like a dog collar, and then like a black glove in front of her, and she's like sniffing it. And she's like, that's very sexist. And then later on, like,
and then Nigel's just like, what's wrong with being sexy? I don't know.
Yeah, that's what it's sexy. And it's like, no, it's not sexy. It's not sexy. This is not the 60s. You can't get away with that anymore. But when they finally see what the album cover is, and it's like black, because Fran Drescher mentioned, the white album. It was just a completely white palette. There was nothing on that. And like it sold how many copies? So he goes the opposite direction. He does like AC/DC or something. It has like the black album. And they're like, they genuinely pissed off. Like, what the fuck is this? And that's like, you see that like, it's mostly between the manager and their vision for what they want to do. I don't think it really impacts the music. There's never like a moment where he's like, hey, tone it down. You're being too suggestive. The music seems to always be there, but it's like the other stuff that allows you to get the full like picture of what they're trying to achieve with what they're trying to achieve on stage with like Stonehenge, and they get this little dumpy 18-inch Stonehenge. I love the scene with what are those, like pupas or something like that? I don't know.
Oh, you like the
pods, yeah.
Give them come out and then Harry Shearer gets stuck in one for like the entire song.
Yeah.
Until the very end when they all go back in and he finally
comes
gets
out. Yeah.
Then he tries to get back in and all he does is get his single arm in there.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's like they know what they want to do. But at the same time, if it comes down to like commerce, I don't see them ever saying like, man, we're not getting enough money. We're not getting paid. It's always about just the vision. Like, we're not getting the shows. We're not getting, the fans out there. We're not getting to like do what we want to do for like the album cover.
We're not getting to be rock stars. We're not getting to like sort of like stand on stage and hear people go.
And I'm sure like when other, actual like bands saw this film, they're like, yeah, exactly. What the fuck? What's wrong with this manager? He just doesn't respect what they're trying to do there and try to be true to themselves. And I'm sure that kind of like hit home for a lot of them when they fought back saying, hey, I want to do this and I believe in this. And, it either pays off or it doesn't.
An interesting thing, and like this is something I kind of honed in a bit more on like this particular watch, was kind of the Eric, I like a lot what you're kind of saying there about how like the band, it's kind of like they had like a vague sense of just sort of like the business side of these things, but it's mostly about wanting to perform and wanting to kind of be on stage in front of a crowd. What was interesting to me on this watch is thinking about when they kind of went through the original incarnations of the band, when they were first they were kind of like sort of like the 12-bar blues band that was sort of based on like the Yardbirds, and they were playing with Ed Begley Jr. on the drums. That was giving some money. And then it goes from there. They were doing kind of like a 60s Flower Child kind of Mamas and Papas sort of San Francisco kind of new wave band. And then the psychedelic rock song they were kind of that they listened to sort of playing like on the radio, which is kind of like it's supposed to be sort of like, I guess, like the sort of late period Sid Barrett or Strawberry Alarm Clock, whatever else. This is a band that, while they don't see like the members themselves don't seem to have kind of too many commercial instincts, they do really seem to be committed to following fads like a lot of the time. You kind of and you see them at a point in their career where they've they've done the blues thing, they've done the psychedelic rock thing, and now they've kind of moved on to kind of like this hair metal kind of deriving from mostly stuff like, I think like AC/DC and Led Zeppelin, and maybe like even like a little Black Sabbath. They're supposed to kind of be what those kind of touchstones are at this point.
Guys, you want to do Jazz Odyssey? All right, guys. So we lost a member, but we're back and we're bigger and better than ever.
Yeah. Freeform Jazz Odyssey, like so much of the comedy in this movie is just Harry Shearer's eyes, how they kind of would bug out when he's kind of like in the middle, like kind of just sort of musical trances, like Christ.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's a great little thing. I know it's getting sidetracked there, but the whole thing, there's probably more than any kind of person who gets jokes or memes are bass players. And he was in it, but he was hardly in it. They never really talked to him much, but they did talk to him sometimes. And then it's like, oh, this Jazz Odyssey, this was written by our bassist, Derek Smalls. Like, he's the one who makes it suck, and then the whole tinfoil wrapped cucumber.
Point of clarification. Does tinfoil set off the alarm, the X-ray thing at an airport? Do you think it would?
Maybe in the 80s.
Yeah.
I don't know if it does nowadays.
Because you'll notice at the airport, like their X-ray machines were all like wood panels.
He's asking for a friend.
Yeah. Friend's kind of weird, dude. What was the point? Was that just for a joke? Is that just for like giggles or something? I didn't understand why they would that happened.
I think it was the whole like part of their kind of 80s kind of stage persona was they're all just kind of like, oh, we got tight pants, and I think that Mike McKeon has like a line about like, oh, the women see we have kind of anacondas down there.
Oh, it's armadillos. The armadillos.
Yeah. It's intimidating, and I think they're riffing off that like a little bit.
Yeah, Harry Shearer's character is, I would say, by far my favorite in the movie. Yeah, no, I think he's great. I think Derek is awesome because he's just so like go along to get along, sitting there smoking his pipe. Like I don't know. I think
he's nodding stuff, but like the second Nigel leaves and he gets any kind of authority in the band, he's just like Freeform Jazz Odyssey.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
Love it.
What are you talking about? Oh, Jack the Ripper rock musical?
Yeah.
Saucy Jack.
Saucy Jack. I wanted to see them explore Saucy Jack more.
Yeah. That was right at the end too.
I was actually reading like a few years ago, like they started a website in response to like the big Napster craze called Tapster, and I think they actually wrote a song called Saucy Jack that you could download off that website for free. It's
really?
out there somewhere.
Ooh. I was hoping they were going to save something for like Jack the Ripper rock musical at the very end when they're rolling the credits.
I
don't know, something for the fans,
like a Dracula the musical thing from the end.
Sure.
Yeah,
that would have been so good.
But back to the commerce and art and all that musicians that we were on. Just my quick 2 cents there. I mean, it did kind of remind me of that era with, it's funny, they brought up Sears and Kmart blocking it.
Right.
And just the whole, it's beginning in with the explicit lyrics content, all putting that in there.
This is around when the Tipper Gore kind of porn rock hearings were kind of happening, all the stuff like Iron Maiden and the parental advisory stickers kind of ended up kind of rising.
Teen Spirit, Nirvana. They want to sell the album at like Target or like in utero at like Target. How are they going to do that? So they had to like they had to do they re-recorded some of the lyrics or something like that, tone it down.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I think I remember something like that, but I can't remember.
You also can't have like a naked baby on a cover that you're selling. They covered it with a tinfoil cucumber.
So, I mean,
not getting that baby on an airplane.
Yeah, don't try to steal the album; it will go off.
Well, it kind of reminded me of Poison's album, "Open Up and Say Ah."
Oh yeah! Oh man, good call.
Well, also, what was the Black Crowes album that came out?
The Black Crowes album that had like the woman with the bikini bottom, and there's some pubic hairs kind of popping out.
Yeah. like Americana, or I forget what the name of the album was. That's not what it was.
Yeah, yeah.
That sounds right.
And so they had to redo that to kind of sell it at Walmart. So it's just like the Walmart cover. It's just a bikini bottom, kind of just on like a black background, I think.
Yeah, right.
Why does this movie have such long-term appeal? Why is this something that we can, that in 2025 you can still watch and laugh at, like really enjoy?
I guess the question first is which generation? Because for us, I could see it as being funny just because the live footage just reminds me, like, they did so well with that live footage every time they were on stage. It made it look like music videos that we grew up with, the angles, and it's just like, it was hilarious and funny. And so that was great. And knowing what music world is going through and writing and all these band things that you hear about.
Right. Are we the last generation with any kind of real context for kind of what's funny about this?
As far as I know, but it's not like I'm, going up to kids and be like, did you watch This Is Spinal Tap? What do you think?
You had like a trench coat on. You're like, yo, kid, I got something. You should check it out.
Exactly.
And you're like, how about some of this? And they're like, what is that black box? How do you watch something on that?
Right. Next time I'll remember.
It's called a VCR, kid. It's in the back of my truck.
Naveen, with the kids you're teaching, you're not showing them Pink Floyd The Wall like we got shown in middle school?
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. No.
Not the whole movie, but bigger chunks of it than we probably should have watched.
Wait, have you guys all watched that movie all the way through?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I remember seeing that in college for the first time.
Yeah, I was sitting right next to you.
Yeah, you were. Okay.
Johnny, were you there when we watched it together? Because we watched it in music
Were we all
class in middle
together?
school.
Oh,
yes.
never mind.
We watched most of it in a middle school music class that our band teacher taught. But I think the only time I've actually seen it all the way through was in college with Eric. And I remember the two of us were kind of sitting there watching it. At one point, Eric just starts cracking up. I'm like, what? He just goes, "Vagina dragon."
All right, because I know, like,
I
after
should
we
have been
saw
high
it,
for that.
we rented it and watched it so we could see the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's an interesting question you asked, Johnny, about whether we're the last generation to have any context for a movie like this. I don't know. I never really thought about it. I guess if I played it for Charlie, I don't think he would. I mean, there would be some stuff. He would think the cucumber was funny.
Uh-huh.
He would think that, some of the kind of random sexual innuendo stuff was funny.
Right. Uh-huh.
But I don't.
Would he laugh at the song "Sex Farm"?
Yeah, he might. I mean,
Wait.
it's got the word sex in
Would
it.
he recognize Dana Carvey as mime waiter number one?
Definitely not. Would he recognize Billy Crystal as mime waiter number two?
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
No, I don't
That was
think
one of those throwaway lines where Billy Crystal just pops up and he's like, "Mime is money."
Come on, people, mime is money. Let's go.
As soon as they saw him, I was like, Billy Crystal, and I was like, "Fuck you, dude. Fuck you." That's a great line.
I did that with Artie Funkin.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I was like, wait, Paul Schaefer?
Paul Schaefer, yeah.
Paul Schaefer. Oh
He's
yeah.
like, wow. And he's just like, it's my fault, guys. Smack me. Just smack me. I messed up. What?
It was kick me in the ass.
Kick me in the ass.
Actually, it was Paul Schaefer, but all I could keep picturing was Eric's dad. I'm sorry, dude.
Oh no, I thought that was
Oh.
Stan's dad.
Eric, does your dad look like Paul Schaefer?
I don't know. What incursion of Paul Schaefer would my dad look like?
Artie Fufkin specifically.
Artie Fufkin specifically? Okay, sure, why not? We'll go with that.
Yeah. Long-term appeal. Should a sequel to this movie be made?
Now, wasn't sequels made to this movie?
Thought
Thought I saw it online that there's a
kind of
couple.
put off speculatively first. Should a sequel be made, and then we'll get into kind of what's actually being done.
I would kind of argue that sequels sort of have been made. I mean, it's spiritual sequels, not necessarily follow-ups directly to Spinal Tap, but Mighty Wind.
And Mighty Wind, literally the three of them reunite as a band called the Folksmen. And if you kind of squint, you can like legit kind of talk yourself into this is just Spinal Tap. They all got haircuts and they're going by different names.
Well, I mean, if you go by sort of like the chronology of events that have happened to Spinal Tap, where they were one band and then they were another band and then they were a third band, it's not hard to think like, okay, then the folks was Folksmen, right? The Folksmen are Spinal Tap. They're just the new version of Spinal Tap.
It's so easy to kind of put like those two movies in like in a shared universe.
Yeah.
I don't think you can. It'd be awesome to see one, but I mean, at this point, I guess you could try to make it like the Rolling Stones, but you don't really hear much. They're still touring, but the only joke is that they're old farts. I mean, even in this, they're like, we're 40 years old. We shouldn't be doing this farting around.
We're way past our expiration date on this kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I mean, again, I guess the only thing you can make fun of to make it long enough, I don't even know if you could make it long enough, but it'd be just like, all right, Mick Jagger having another kid at 80,
Right.
But so I don't know where the jokes would come in to.
Yeah, that's what I kept thinking. Like, what's sort of left to say about this band that hasn't been covered and kind of covered beautifully, like in this first movie,
I think it would be fun. They do this a lot with films nowadays. They bring them back, they put them in a new situation. It's for the older fans, I guess. But for this, I would love to see that they're older now. They've all gone. Maybe the band split up a long time ago after that Japanese tour. They all kind of pursued music differently. Maybe they're all retired at this point, in old age homes, or kind of living out on their own in Utah or something like that. And then it's kind of like somebody has the idea where they're like, you know what? I miss those guys, and I haven't seen them in 30 years or 40 years.
The kids discover them on TikTok or something.
Yeah, I would love to, get back together one time and just record a new song, and that will be like our last big hit, and we all get together again. And it's like that journey of them kind of finding each other, and you figure out like they've all gotten into some weird shit and bring back the classic magic. I think it could work.
Speaking of the band getting back together, have you guys seen any of the footage of Spinal Tap reuniting at some festival show or other?
Oh, I wanted to touch on this quickly, but this is the 2007 Live Aid performance.
No.
Yeah, it was the live. Yeah, where they brought all kinds of musicians of the day up on stage with them to play Big Bottom. It's called Big Bottom, right? Big Bottom.
So basically I think I actually shared this clip like a week or two ago, like on the group chat, but they did a 3-song performance on Live Aid where they ended with Big Bottom. All of them are playing bass guitars, and then they bring 20 other bass players onto the stage, including
bass players or other, not just bass players, because they brought
not drummers.
Kirk Hammett, all from Metallica.
They got in the bass players from Foo Fighters, Madonna, Block Party, Ad Rock came out playing a bass, and also every single guy from Metallica came out, all playing bass at the same time. It just in the background as they could watch this thing. Which
I thought was the best because they got the bass player from Madonna, and then the bass player from Madonna, and then the bass player, like he said, like 5 different names. The bass player from Madonna.
At one point, they're introducing everybody in the band. They introduce their drummer, and then they just go, "Pray for him."
There was a backup drummer, wasn't there? Like
there was a backup drummer. There's a guy.
Nice.
My favorite was the leading comment on the post on the video on YouTube was something like, "I can't believe they were able to find somebody else to play drums for them," or something like that. Yeah, that was good. I thought that was fun.
Yeah, but anyway, kind of swing back to like the sequel kind of question real quick. I asked that because the sequel has already been filmed. It's in post-production right now, and it's actually going to come out either like this year or in 2026. So that'll be
like for real. It's happening.
For real. Yeah.
I heard about something that happening, but I thought it was just like never going to happen. Like Goonies 2.
Yeah. They got everybody back. Fran Drescher, I guess, apparently has like a major role like that in the thing. Like,
no way.
She does. Awesome.
I
I mean, I'll see it.
Yeah, I'll go watch it.
100%. All right, so why don't we kind of pivot over to Vigo's Toes, since this is probably going to be like this. There's a lot here for this movie, so let's just kind of jump right
Yeah, we're gonna play some mock in the background.
into it.
So, all right, I'll jump in with a couple that I thought were interesting. So Tony Hendra, who is the guy that played the manager Ian in the movie, he apparently attempted suicide on the night before the filming started. He later credited the kind of like the fun and the joy and the that he experienced while making the movie with sort of what brought him back from being so depressed and being so down on himself. Which, I mean, I don't know that necessarily comes through in his performance in the movie, his sadness or whatever. But like,
he does have like the vibe of a guy who's kind of dealing with some shit,
kind of over it maybe a little bit. And you think about the fact like he's got this going on in the background in his real life, and he's going into this completely absurd, movie set or movie sets with these idiots that are just improvising all day long. Like that's got to be a really weird headspace to be in.
Sure. And not knowing you're going into something that's eventually going to be considered one of the funniest movies ever made. I mean,
right. So there was that. Another one that I thought was really good. I'm afraid if I don't want to steal everybody's stuff because I'm guessing I'm not the only one here to do this one, but
do it.
This is the only film on IMDb with a rating out of 11 instead of 10. It's fucking awesome. It's so good.
I did actually check the IMDb page. That is still the case up to this day.
It is absolutely still the case. I did the same thing. Yes, it's so good. Love that. What do you guys got?
I'll just make 10 louder.
Yeah.
No, it's one.
No, this goes to 11.
One louder.
Yeah. I mean, I did mine already. I mean, there was Wasp who got lost in there. They did that with Metallica, Cliff Burton walking around. But it was actually another homage to Bob Dylan in his movie. What was it called? Don't Look Back, where they actually got lost as well. So that was always fun. The military base, when they're at the Air Force, and all the people are like, oh, God, it's so loud. We hate it. They're like, well, that's not actually true. All the military bases, they love rock and roll music. So they would have loved it, which is kind of funny that they did the opposite.
Yeah. Can I just say something that we didn't bring up is Fred Willard is still to this day.
Same as Best in Show in the thing for about a minute, just throwing heaters the entire time.
One of the funniest guys ever, and just does not get the credit he deserves.
He wasn't even crude either. Like it was just like straight up solid humor.
Jokes about haircuts.
Yeah, the haircut joke. Yeah. Oh, they might have mistaken me for part of the band.
It's getting all shaggy.
Getting a little shaggy.
Yeah.
Our monthly at ease weekend, which just
all right. I got a few. I prepared extra hard this week because usually like all my Vigo's toes get taken. So I have a few, which is great. The first one was, we mentioned sequels. When I did a search originally on Wikipedia, I saw that there was a sequel for Spinal Tap. And again, I've never seen Spinal Tap before. So I just assumed there was, maybe this was a series or something like that. But I guess in like 1992, they released a video called The Return of Spinal Tap, where they promoted a new song called Break Like the Wind. And I guess it was just consisted all of footage from an actual Spinal Tap concert at the Royal Albert Hall.
Did you?
So I was like,
find it? Did you look it up?
I didn't look for it yet. No.
What's it called again?
Return.
Yeah, The Return of Spinal Tap.
Spinal Tap.
Yeah.
So
Break
I was like
the
maybe
Wind.
this is a trilogy. I don't know.
Break Like the Wind was also the song that Spinal Tap played on a season 3 episode of The Simpsons that they were all on at the beginning.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Not shouted out, but Harry Shearer, also the voice of like 40% of the characters on that show. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What else did you
Somehow
find
Derek
there?
Smalls sounds like none of them, but again, that's just the talent that man is.
Yeah. Other one I found was the scene where Nigel's like commenting on the tiny sandwiches and how it's bothering him. And he's just like, he's like, oh, the bread, and it's look, the meat is kind of sticking out over the edge of the bread, and it's not like a full sandwich, like these little.
You fold it. You should fold it.
Yeah, you fold it.
But I don't want it folded over.
I guess that was making fun of the whole thing with Van Halen. Van Halen is famous for not having brown M&Ms in their dressing room.
Mm.
I thought that was Ozzy Osbourne too. Like Ozzy needs to have his M&Ms all the colors separated.
Oh yeah,
maybe.
Oh yeah. That's right. Yeah.
I know about that. I think kind of what came out years later is that wasn't actually like a supposedly, and this may be apocryphal, but it wasn't like a diva thing that they were doing. Like they would have weird demands like that in their contract writers.
Exactly. Yep.
To make sure that the venues were reading the instructions carefully enough that they would do the sound stage and the equipment setup like properly, because they were worried about sort of people sort of getting hurt, electrocuted, like what it was.
Yeah, that's what I read too. It was like it's kind of it's stuff they stipulate in the contract, and they want to make sure that the venue is following it to a T. And if they don't, and they would find like brown and M&Ms, I heard they would often like trash the dressing room. But they actually canceled the show once because they were so pissed that they found brown M&Ms. They're like, fuck this, we're done, and they actually just left.
Yeah.
So I thought that was pretty wild.
Yeah, that's
dude. Yeah, musicians are weird. Last one I saw was I don't know if this is true or not. I feel like it might have been, but Rob Reiner initially wanted to be the fourth bandmate.
Yes.
And then they were like, "Look, I don't think you have you don't match like the kind of type of person that we'd want for the fourth bandmate." So then he was like, "Well, I can be the manager," and they're like, "Yeah, maybe you can be the manager." And then in the end, they settled on him being like the interviewer. So he just kept getting downgraded.
I believe the explanation for why they didn't want him to be a part, or they didn't think he should be a part of the band, was because he wouldn't look good in spandex.
That's what it was.
Yes.
Yeah, he wouldn't look good in the.
Yeah,
he'd have too many bulges.
Yes.
What do you guys feel about him as like being like the interviewer? Do you think he was like the best person for the role, or
the fact he was kind of corny and kind of seemed like a little bit of a schlub, I think worked really, really well for the character. The fact that he's so awkward in like the first few minutes of the movie, and that I think kind of sets it up as, oh, I can believe this guy is dorky enough to legitimately worship this cornball heavy metal act. I thought it worked great.
Yeah. I mean, if I had redone it, I probably would have given him like a Red Sox hat or something like that.
Sure.
Just slap one on him. He needs it.
Supposedly that hat makes a cameo in a bunch of other Rob Reiner movies. Like I think in The Princess Bride, you actually see that Navy hat he was wearing hanging.
He has the USS something, whatever hat I saw on there. I thought he picked it up at the military base. Why not? He went to the gift shop. They have a gift shop. He just stopped by the gift shop because he wasn't doing shit while they were performing. So why not?
I think they call it a commissary.
You're a commissary.
Boom, roasted.
Boom, roasted. The only two that I got, just we kind of mentioned this like a little bit earlier, but there are reports of other rock stars kind of watching this movie and being like, I didn't laugh at it, or I didn't realize that this was a parody band. But famously, Steve Tyler and Ozzy were two people that were like Ozzy supposedly didn't laugh. He thought he was watching front to back like a real documentary the entire.
He's not that bright. I'm not surprised.
Yeah, that one doesn't surprise me at all.
Roasted.
Yeah.
But the other thing I've kind of read about, and like this is I don't know that this has been necessarily verified, but when Christopher Guest is playing that mock piece on the piano for Rob Reiner, and he's got that comment about D minor is really the saddest chord, which I think
D minor, yeah.
Anybody who plays guitar can kind of relate to, but he hits the punchline where Reiner calls up. Reiner's like, "Oh, this is a very beautiful song. What is this called?" And he goes, lick my love pump. And then you see the camera shake very, very slightly before it cuts away. Supposedly, it was a line that guest improvised just kind of in the moment. And everybody cracked up so much that the cameraman basically almost kind of dropped.
That's awesome.
The camera he was filming with. Supposedly, like it just shut down people for like 20 minutes. Like after
it was good. It was good.
So.
I didn't expect it either.
Right. I don't know if there's any truth behind that, but that's one of those. I
hope there is, though. I hope there's truth there. That's good.
He was so straight, like when he said it. He just like lick my love pump. Perfect delivery.
So any closing thoughts on like This Is Spinal Tap? I mean, this is a bit of a tough episode to do because again, like this is not some obscure thing we've kind of picked out. This is one of like the most sort of loved movies of just kind of all time. But yeah.
Can I ask something? Because again, this is my first time seeing this. The whole thing with the girlfriend, the dynamic. She's like the Yoko Ono, I'm guessing, to the band.
Yeah.
Has there been anything that's come out of like when she proposes the costumes, right? The Zodiac costumes,
right.
And it's like David is the lion, or there's like what was it? Somebody's a crab. I think it is. Is it a crab?
Yeah.
Did anything ever come out of that? Like people thought that was like so funny that I'm just thinking of like Napoleon Dynamite when what was it? He draws
the Liger.
The Liger.
Yeah. The Liger. You saw the Liger pop up in like memes and stuff like that. I didn't know if this ever became anything.
No, I mean because like it I don't think it really became anything because for this movie there are 500 other funny things that kind of just came out like ahead of it. But I think what that was riffing on was Kiss and like the way that that their makeup was all supposed to be. Oh, I'm the cat. I'm the Starman. I'm like whatever the fuck.
Oh, it's too expensive. We can't do it to do the animal costumes. Well, I was thinking Stonehenge. Done. They're like, what?
18 inches.
Right.
18 inches.
Yeah, I totally thought about that with Janine and David. I mean, Janine even was kind of reminding me a little bit about Penny from Almost Famous.
That's what I was thinking.
Sure.
Yeah.
So it kind of had that.
There's also like a little bit of a through line between, Smell the Glove basically becoming the Black Album and them defending it by talking about the White Album. I think it was the White Album that it was the first time Yoko was really kind of like a damaging presence for like the band. And like the Beatles had like this policy of like no girlfriends in the studios, no wives in the studios. And I think when they're making the White Album, like it just Yoko was such like an aggressive presence. I think that was famously when the Beatles themselves sort of started to fall apart.
Wow, I have a confession, by the way. During Christmas break, I broke. I think maybe I told you this, and I bought a record player.
Oh, okay.
And I think Andy, you mentioned you're a Beatles fan.
I am
more than Rolling Stones fan.
Yes.
So growing up, my dad always kind of tried to push Beatles off on me. I had some friends that were really into Beatles. I always kind of was never into them. I'm like, everybody likes them. I'm not that big a fan. Their music's not that catchy. Because I got a record player, it's like I got to buy some classic stuff. I bought so my first purchase, I got Led Zeppelin 2 and 3, and then I got the Red Album and the Blue Album by Beatles. And I forced myself to listen to them, and I realized I know like every song on these albums. The best part is because these are re-releases in like I think maybe 2022 or something like that. They have a lot of extra songs, and they had that song. Do you remember that one they released? Was it like 2 years ago? Like Now and Then? Yeah, that's on there. So any of the stuff like the posthumous John Lennon stuff, or like what the Beatles did kind of towards the end there, is also included in there. And yeah, I'm a big Beatles fan now.
Oh,
it's weird. It's so weird to be like in your 40s and be like discovering Beatles. But it was the record player, man. I just got the record player and I'm like listening, and it's like
there's something about the sound and the vibe made it work like a lot better.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I got some more recent stuff too, but I mean, I was just like, So like watching this movie, I mean, it hit a little better for me.
Yeah, I kind of
How was
with
Oh, sorry, go
David.
ahead.
Sorry, yeah, I kind of found that with David and Nigel. It's kind of like the John Lennon Paul McCartney duo, or
Mhm.
I thought of Gilmore and Waters or Page and Plant kind of thing.
Still water.
Yeah, Stillwater. Yeah,
Black
Stillwater.
Crowes, Oasis. I mean, it's you name it, man. It's happened
Yeah.
so many times.
It's a very, very famous dynamic, but those kind of dyads are sort of what keep the bass player from doing like having the band do like a 20-minute freeform jazz odyssey. So
Yeah.
and that's why Jason Newsted, quit because he could never write any of the songs.
Yep.
Yeah,
Jason Newsted, a guy with a classic jazz odyssey vibe.
Yeah. So my closing thoughts is for any of our young listeners out there, if you haven't seen it, watch it. Because keep the movie alive.
Yes.
Keep it at
It's worth a
11.
watch.
Yeah, you don't have to be an old fuddy-duddy to enjoy it.
Yeah.
It helps, though.
But it helps.
But
Yeah.
it helps, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what makes it lost as well, is the whole idea of radio or CDs or 8-tracks or record,
Oh, hair bands, like,
releasing records, because
Mhm.
that was a
Not-
big part of it, but you don't really talk about releasing records now. Like, when's the new album coming out? It's like, when's it coming to streaming?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
That's a great point, Naveen. There is so much about the music industry, from just not that the sound and the style of music, but the trends. But the technology has reformed itself half a dozen times just within our own lifetime. It's like just how much of this is kind of recognizable right now.
Yeah. Well, this is something that's crazy too, is so Caleb's really into Tyler, the Creator. And I guess he just dropped an album like the end of last year, but he didn't release any physical, like no, there's no CDs, no vinyl, nothing. And that's coming out, I think, like next month. So it's crazy to think now people are like, I'm just going to drop, the files online. You can buy the album or whatever on Amazon or something like that, or listen it on Spotify.
But they're not leading with a physical release at all.
Yeah.
Basically.
It's so different than back in the day where it's like everything at once.
This kind of calls back to earlier today in our college buddies text thread.
Yes.
Napone, who has been on our podcast a couple of times, he sent one that said, if anybody wants to know why Gen X is always mad, it's because they had to replace their record collections with the tape collection, that they had to replace with a CD collection, that they had to replace with an MP3 collection, and now they need a subscription to listen to music. And I hadn't really thought about it, but that might be exactly why I'm so mad all the time. I bought the same album like 4 separate times at this point in my life. It's just not right.
What's that Tommy Lee Jones line from Men in Black? He's like he's showing Will Smith some alien crystal. He's like, this is actually the perfect way to kind of store music. Guess I'm going to have to rebuy the White Album again.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
All right. So, yeah, God. Great movie. I don't even know there's kind of much to say beyond that. Sort of surprised Eric. This just watching it for the first time. Just really enjoyed it.
There's a lot of stuff that I haven't seen. Look, 2024 is setting the bar. There's so many films I missed this past year, so it's going to be a challenging next few years.
100%. All right, so why don't we kind of wrap up the movie there? Let's talk a little bit before we go, the mockumentary cycle. So we watched Deadstream. Very easy to argue as a mockumentary. We watched Best in Show. Just very easily classifiable as a mockumentary. We watched Grizzly Man, which technically was true, but seemed kind of made the fuck up like the entire time.
What was that?
We watched Strange Brew, which kind of you can make an argument for like the first and like last 5 minutes, and then we kind of ended this with Spinal Tap on an actual sort of authentic mockumentary. Gentlemen, overall thoughts about the cycle? What do you guys think?
It's a real mixed bag. I thought this was going to be very straightforward. I'm like, four mockumentaries. There's plenty to choose from. I thought someone was going to choose like What We Do in the Shadows, but I could definitely see Best in Show or like The Mighty Wind or something like that. There's plenty of stuff, and it was really all over the place.
Yeah, it was kind of a shark sandwich.
Mm.
Wait, shit sandwich. Can they say that?
Just a 2-word review.
Yeah.
Just a,
Yeah.
When we picked
Sandwich,
the
shit sandwich.
when we picked it for our one of the cycles that we were going to do, I was in the same boat as Eric. I thought for sure it was going to be Spinal Tap, What We Do in the Shadows,
Pop Star.
Like I thought
sure,
Pop
yeah.
Star for sure was going to be on there, or like at least one of the Lonely Island type deals.
Mhm.
And I don't know, a fourth easy one.
Right.
I kind of like that we completely fucked the whole thing up. I think it really suits our brand. And I actually wear it as a bit of a feather in my cap that nobody fucked it up worse than I did. So,
Well,
yeah.
I don't know,
Beauty.
man. Like
Beauty.
we decided to do 4 comedies, and I instead picked a film about a German documentarian being very sad about a dude getting eaten by a bear. So I don't know kind of what that puts me as like the Derek Smalls podcast.
Well, I would think that's very on brand. That's very on brand for you in particular.
Agreed.
Johnny.
Agreed.
So,
That was so not John. So we've seen a different side of John. So maybe this was like, maybe this was a good cycle.
yeah. I thought it was fun.
Andy, if you
John
put a
likes
T-shirt
murder.
on your shirt, it's called The Kind Warrior.
Did anybody watch that What If episode?
No.
Nope.
I did. It was fun.
Yeah.
Recommend the What If episode. I really recommend. I've said it before, but the documentary now where they did like a 2-parter about Werner Herzog and Fred Armisen plays the Jewel Palahniuk role in like the one scene where they're watching like a bunch of bear footage. It's truly.
I still haven't checked it out. I definitely have to.
I got
It's on the list.
Great series altogether.
So kind of one sort of question about like mockumentaries. I kind of floated this when we kind of started we started the theme. Why are comedic parodies of documentaries so effective? What makes this in kind of film and TV such like a prolific kind of genre, a prolific genre, like a way of kind of making sort of comedic properties?
The thing I like about this genre is when you watch like these films or like the TV shows that do this kind of theme. I like how it feels like it's genuine people just kind of naturally talking about stuff. And when they make a joke, it feels like somebody's actually just came up with the joke on the spot, as opposed to something that's scripted and it's got this high gloss on it. And it just feels, I don't know, more real to me. And that's why it's kind of like sometimes something that might not necessarily hit in like a, big money picture.
In a way that might be more scripted feeling or more theatrical.
Yeah, it feels almost kind of like, oh, they just said that. That's funny. It's not like laugh out loud funny, but you just kind of, you're like, it's a real person and they're saying something and it's kind of silly. And I don't know. It just feels like it's actual people.
I think documentaries oftentimes just take themselves so seriously that it leaves all kinds of room for, people to poke fun at that and be self-referential, self-aware. It can be really funny when that type of humor is done well. And, for every good mockumentary that's out there, I'm sure there's 10 bad ones, but that's like any kind of movie. So the ones that really hit it right and get the, kind of understand the formula and sort of understand the tone that they're supposed to take. It's just super fertile ground for funny stuff. There's a lot of room for, improv, which again, if done right by the right people, can be absolutely hilarious. It can also be terrible,
right?
But it can be really
it's like kind of like 90% of movies bad. And I can say this as somebody that went to like a lot of live theater when I was in New York. 99.3% of improv that you see live is just completely dog shit.
Is it really?
Oh yeah. Oh my
it's
god.
Tough because all the stuff you brought, like Me Too, was really good.
Yeah. Those were very curated experiences. Those were
like
just like
everything. I don't think we saw one bad thing. Even the stuff that you're kind of like, they're pretty good. Like, this troup's pretty good. Do you want to just hang around for the show? I'm like, yeah, why not? And then it was just awesome. It's so good.
Right. Yeah.
So
And that's with improv, especially, that's the thing you kind of stick around for, because so much of his shit, when it's good, when it's really organic and authentic, and it when it's firing all cylinders, it's the most exciting thing you can ever see, because you're just so accustomed to so much of it just being really, really bad.
It's true too. How much shit like do you have to create in order for you to actually start producing something that's halfway decent? Like, just throw yourself. Yeah, exactly. Right. It's like, how many shows you go to where it's like, it's gonna be another stinker tonight, guys. And then like 5 years later, you're like, all right, now I'm going to make you laugh.
Well, it's the same thing with music. You know, you think about the first song that anybody has ever written, usually pretty freaking terrible, but eventually somebody becomes, Elton John or whatever.
Yeah.
And they start writing. Actually, he's a bad example because he doesn't write his own music, but Billy Joel, how about that? Another piano guy. Yeah.
Wait, did he write Tiny Dancer?
It's all Bernie Taupin. Bernie Taupin.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, no. I didn't know that. Oh, I'm learning so much today. Oh, jeez.
I hate this podcast.
Yeah, I know.
Elton
we get that star.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I'll take off my rosy Elton John glasses. I don't think I've ever listened to one of his albums, so.
You're missing out, man.
Actually, on Andy's recommendation, I went through Madman Over the Water, like front to back. You did. That's right. Great, fucking great. Like, kind of starts on Tiny Dancer, which you can kind of say what you want about that, but every song kind of following that. There's some really entertaining, really interesting shit on that album.
Is it all kind of like upbeat music? Or
No. It's extremely dark, son of it. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's really good.
Yeah, check it out. Just thinking about it for me, I think what kind of makes sort of mockumentaries kind of so effective as a comedic form is just like, this is kind of the thing that Ebert sort of said in his review that I read earlier. But when you're watching a regular documentary, you're kind of seeing two stories being told at the same time. You're seeing the story that the subject of the film is actually kind of like saying to the camera, and then you're seeing like the story that the camera itself is actually talking. And I think it can be the tension and the contrast between these two things is kind of where you get a lot of the humor, like a lot of the comedy kind of rises from that. Like, these in Spinal Tap, these guys have this, they love doing what they're new. They love doing what they're doing, but they're kind of in denial about that at the same time, about the fact that they're kind of past their expiration date. Their management is incompetent, that they're kind of playing smaller and smaller venues. And it's just, it's the contrast you can see as the viewer watching this movie, all these things just kind of collapsing around them, but they're still so upbeat. They're still so optimistic the entire time. And I think it's the contrast, though, those two things that can really sort of make this kind of film really entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was gonna piggyback as well off of Eric and Andy. Just the fact that documentaries take themselves seriously. They have this tone to them that just makes it easy to play off of the directing, the way they have the camera angles, and that's where it kind of makes it easy. And then you had also mentioned, I think, through our chats about talking about TV series kind of taking off and doing better than the actual films,
right?
And just watching some of them, the TV versions of mockumentaries, I guess, I think it's the setting. A lot of that's workplace setting, so the majority of people have that relationship. They can relate more easily to it, and it's easier to do it in smaller snippets. Because, for me, I don't know about you guys, but there's a lot of interesting documentaries, but I can't get through them all sometimes. In one week. It just gets
90 minutes to 2 hours can kind of be a slog, like depending on like the topic you're dealing with.
Yeah. So that can be the same thing for mockumentaries in the film version. It can get still a little bit long, even though it's poking fun, being comedic. So whereas the TV shows, you get short snippets and you can just take it in and move on.
Yeah,
That-
that was
that-
me the
that's
other
really
night on Netflix. I was watching Who Killed John Benet Ramsey, and I'm like, just cut to the end. Who killed her? It's been how many years? Shit,
Right.
you wasted how many hours of my life?
See if you can hire Charlie to do like a 20-second short. Just
Yeah. Or I'll just pick up a People magazine.
Yeah.
anything between 1997 and 2008 should probably do it. Like that,
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah. I was going to check out the National Enquirer, but yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah,
It
Yeah,
turned out
all
it was
about
Bad
facts.
Boy. Turned out it was
Yeah.
Bad Boy.
it's all factual.
Okay, so let's kind of wrap up mockumentaries there. Let's talk for like a few minutes. We have our new film cycle coming up. We did like voting on this like a few weeks ago, back at like the end of the year. Next is a theme that Naveen pitched for doing video game adaptations. So I think this is going to be really interesting, really exciting ones. Do you want to go around the horn real quick and kind of talk about everybody's like officially made their picks for the movies we're going to watch?
Sure.
Why don't you go first? Aren't you first in the cycle, Johnny?
I am. So mine, it's going to, similar to mockumentaries, be like also like a little bit of a zag. Instead of doing like a straight video game adaptation, I would like the four of us to watch a documentary called The King of Kong. This is a 2000 film about two men competing for the world's highest score in Donkey Kong. It's a very interesting documentary. It's a little bit at a piece with Grizzly Man for reasons we can kind of get into like after we watch the film. You could even kind of make an argument that it is in a way an adaptation of the Donkey Kong video game, in that it's a big guy. It's a story about a big guy and a little guy competing in about like the most absurd way you can kind of possibly imagine. Like this is a very entertaining documentary. It was also remade pretty memorably as a South Park episode where Stan Marsh and Bono from U2 get into a competition to see who can take the world's biggest shit. So
Okay.
you know, this whole thing is up on YouTube right now. I think it'll be like a good entree into like sort of the video game discussion, talking about, you know, kind of it's kind of a midpoint between generations sort of movie where we can kind of talk like a little bit about kind of what these things are to us in our 40s versus just kind of what gaming has kind of become for like the younger generation since then. And I think it's overall it's a pretty entertaining one. I think it'd be a good way to start the cycle.
It's interesting. I've seen it. I liked it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen it, but it's been
Oh,
a
have
while,
you?
so
Yeah.
I don't remember all the stuff from it. So, but at the same time, did I miss the fine print in the contract where Johnny could be like, "Oh, we picked these themes. I don't care. I'm picking something else."
Yeah.
I've made my case. It's if the three you want to veto that, I have a fallback.
John, were you going to
No, I'll
present
watch
this
that
as a
again.
mockumentary? Hey, I got another one for you guys. It's kind of bleeding over into the next cycle.
Right. This is just we got to get the mockumentary about our pod up to like about 90 minutes. So this is me just kind of adding content.
Nice.
It's fair.
No, but I'd watch it again. I'd like to see that. So that'd be
Yeah,
cool.
why
But
not?
I it's entertaining. I think it'll be a very fun conversation.
Yeah. Most definitely.
Yeah.
So I'm up after that. So again, next week is King of Kong, and then in a couple weeks will be Hitman. I've never played the game, but I thoroughly enjoyed the movie and kind of wanted to see it again. So because I thought it was really well done. But again, have no relationship with the game, which is probably like all of you guys are questioning, like, why'd you pick it, dumbass? If you don't know the game, why would you pick? But you know, I don't know a lot of the games because
Personally, I'm not in like a position to criticize, but maybe Eric or Andy have thoughts.
I owned it. I never played it.
No kidding.
So if it was an RPG,
I've played many hours of Hitman.
Oh,
This will be
Many.
great.
oh, there we
Yeah.
go.
This will
There
be
we
a
go.
great conversation then.
Yeah.
With just
I am
one
a
person.
big
It'd be
fan.
great.
I've never seen the movie though. So is this there were two though. There was the original one, which was Timothy Olyphant, and then there was a second one later on that was somebody else, right?
Right, and I'm going with the Timothy Olyphant, so go
Okay.
with the original.
yeah, the 2007.
I've not seen that sequel one, so I'm not familiar with that.
Got it.
Who was next in the rotation? Was it me?
Let me see here. Next in the rotation was we have Eric.
Oh, okay. Wait. Like you guys know, I swam through troubled waters. I had a lot of different choices. I think after today's conversation, I've settled on Sonic 2. Not Sonic 1 or 3, because I haven't seen 3 yet. Sonic 2, because I think Sonic 1 was a solid movie. It was a good movie, but I think it was a stepping stone to get to Sonic 2, because I think Sonic 2 did everything slightly better, and it brings back, Jim Carrey's Robotnik. We have Knuckles finally, which all the fans wanted. There's a huge wedding scene, which John will get to enjoy for the first time, that I loved, and it's such a joy. But this movie is just, you're thinking it's Sonic 2. What new can it bring to the table? And it brings so much extra new stuff that just builds off of the first one. And I thought it's just a solid movie.
Nuts.
Now, wait, here's a question. Considering that, Johnny, you have not seen Sonic 1, I know in the thread, the chat thread, you said that you were only going to watch the second one.
Okay.
But I would encourage you, perhaps on your flight home, you'll have time to indulge in the first one and then go on to the second one.
All right.
That's true. When are you flying back?
Sunday. Is this like a Wire situation where if I don't watch the first season, I have no idea like what the relationship is between Avon Barksdale and Stringer Bell, and just like
it would help. It would help.
The grand Dickensian plot machinations. Okay, so
it's like if you watched Squid Game season 2, right? But you never even knew what Squid Game was, and you're like, "What's this?" And you're like, "Why are they killing so many innocent people?"
Like, there's no clue. No clue. Okay, so if that's the feeling, if that's the feeling of the pod, I am kind of diverging from format like a little bit. So as penance, I will I will watch both Sonic the Hedgehog movies like ahead of like that.
I think you're going to enjoy them, and I think you'll be glad that you did.
Sweet.
Yep.
And then I guess to finish out the cycle, I am going to be doing the movie Street Fighter because because it's so
I need to clarify real quick. This is the 1994 Jean-Claude Van Damme, Raul Julia live action adaptation.
Who are all those actors?
Yes. It is such a first of all, it's such a 90s movie. Second of all, the story of sort of what was going on behind the scenes is wild. And I haven't seen it in years and years, and I remember enjoying it for what it was. Not that it was a good movie. I don't for one second believe that it was a good movie, but I think that it's a fun movie to watch, and I think it'll be another one of those movies where we all kind of just enjoy reliving it together via chat on our pod. That's my guess.
Yeah. I think it would have been a hit whether you picked this one or Mortal Kombat.
Right.
I would probably fourth around there. Yeah,
I went back and forth, and actually,
done, but fantastic.
Mortal Kombat, I think, if I remember correctly, was actually I was probably my favorite of the two movies. But that was only because I played more Mortal Kombat as a kid than I did Street Fighter by a long shot.
But I think like the Street Fighter, to kind of piggyback on what you're saying, the Street Fighter pick is an excellent one because I didn't really know a ton about the movie after you mentioned on the group chat that you wanted us to watch it. I dug around for like a little bit and I found a very long essay on polygon.com. Also, I'll share that with you guys at some point, just kind of detailing every single batshit crazy thing that was happening behind the scenes of that movie. Yeah. Minor spoilers, but you wanna watch a film where Jean-Claude Van Damme in his free time was doing a lot of cocaine and cheating on his wife with Kylie Minogue? Well, we have an episode coming up.
Yep.
I think there's still that debate too. Yeah. Is it Guile or Gully?
I always thought it was Guile.
Guile is actually for graphical, universal, informational learning extravaganza. So it's Guile.
Yeah.
You got there, Andy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
I got there.
Almost there.
Right.
Keep pushing.
I couldn't remember if Guile had a U in it or not.
Goyle.
I guarantee nobody working on that movie had any idea either.
No,
Yeah, I know.
absolutely not.
I just learned it now.
Yeah, call him whatever he wants to be called.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Just don't add Sonic Boom.
I mean, the fact that they picked where's Jean-Claude Van Damme from? He's not French, but he's something like
Belgium.
that.
Belgium.
There you go. The fact that they picked somebody from Belgium to play like the most American character in the video game, with the accent and all, is I mean, just tells you everything you need to know.
Oh my God, though! Imagine that, snorting coke, and every time he does it, he screams "Sonic Boom." Holy shit! That's just to be in that room. I would pay anything
to be a fly on the wall.
Sonic Boom. Thailand to be filmed, most likely. Like, just that's going to be a great conversation. I don't want to kind of step on.
Or just start singing "Let's Get Physical." That'd be good.
Yeah. Yep.
I don't want to be in that room.
All right. So I think that'll wrap up episode 37, gentlemen. Thank you kindly for your time. I think this was this was for me like a great film to talk about, and
this movie was a gem. Thank you for making me watch it.
Sweet.
Yeah,
like
that's great. I'm glad we did.
Yep.
This is the gift that keeps on giving. Yeah.
It's like Ghostbusters. Seeing Ghostbusters the first time. Another notch in the belt.
Yeah. Stonehenge.
Dwarf. Stay tuned. So we're going to stay on mic an extra 15 minutes. We're just going to do like quotes.
We're actually going to perform Jack Ripper, the rock musical, as promised. Salt and Jack.
Special cameo by Alan Moore. Just comes in and makes,
don't call it a graphic novel. Shut up, Alan Moore.
I got two hands here.
Yeah.
Anybody catch that one?
Nope.
No.
Oh man, they're talking to the keyboard player. He's like, "So are you gonna like double up on that?" He's like, "I got two hands here." Oh man, that was great.
Take care, everyone.
All right, take care,
guys.
Later.
Bye.